Thank you very much. I'm in charge of a very difficult task. So we have 6 speakers today, and since we don't have very much time, I would like to go straight to the talks. Each speaker has 10 minutes. Then after that, I don't know how many minutes we have for discussion, but the organizers are generous in terms of behind the scenes, so we'll see.
For Buddhist Mahavihara, they will normally ring a bell at 11:50 a.m. for the monks to go, monks and nuns to go for their dana. Or today is also full moon, so 11:50. After you hear the bell, you may have the lunch. Okay.
Okay. Now we have 6 speakers from different religious traditions. Of course. Half of us are Buddhists, or more than half of us, of course. But we have Sikh tradition, also Islamic tradition as well. Now, the title of this panel session is Spirit of the Future, Is Sustainability Possible? Now let's start this session with Mr. Tengku Ahmad Hazri from Malaysia. He's from Just International. Please, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend Masazumi. Very good morning, friends, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I'll be speaking briefly about the relationship between religion, spirituality, and sustainability. And although I'll be taking an interfaith perspective, I'll be speaking from in Islamic tradition as a sort of focus or case study. When one reflects on the concept of sustainability, the immediate thought that comes to mind is, of course, the durability of the environment. That is, of course, how it has been conceived, thanks to the modern experience with various environmental crises and ecological disasters. We come to our senses only when Mother Nature has turned against us, when our insatiable quest for what we call progress and development eventually backfires and rages against us. We learn our mistakes the hard way. Consequently, we now speak of sustainable development, that is, development that takes account the needs not only of the present generation, but also of future generations. A famous saying runs, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. That is indeed the spirit that we need to ensure a sustainable future. There is, however, a less painful way of realizing, yet man, being prone to forget and to err, has forgotten that crucial message. It is the intrinsic spiritual wisdom found in the religious traditions of the world that teaches us about the value of respect, reverence, and awe towards the people and towards the world around us. Speaking of religion and the environment, one is nevertheless painfully aware of the thesis advanced in academic literature many decades ago, in the 1960s, about the roots of the present ecological crisis. The argument claims that man's exploitation of nature has a theological basis in Western civilization, namely in the idea that God is independent of nature as utterly transcendent in relation to the world, as contrasted from many ancient and oriental religions that finds even in the physical, natural cosmos the locus of divinity. But as we will point out later, this is not necessarily the case. More than mere activism, what is at stake is also our thoughts and beliefs, our worldviews, which ultimately shape our behavior. The question then is not whether sustainability is possible, because that is not an option, for if we are to continue to survive, our question should be how to make sustainability possible. And to answer this question, we turn to our religious traditions in at least 3 main respects: the intellectual, the spiritual, and the ethical. These approaches reinforce each other and complement one another. They address simultaneously the mind, the body, and the spirit. They address the mind through right thinking, the body through right conduct, and the spirit through the transformation of our consciousness. Intellectually, what we need is change in our worldview and outlook. There is no denying that within a religious tradition, the intellectual is intimately linked with theology, for ultimately philosophical questions eventually lead to the theological, and vice versa. In the Islamic context, a few key concepts relate fundamentally to how we perceive the natural world. The first of these is Tawheed, or the oneness and unity of God. The second is Khilafah, man as God's representative on earth. The third is Amanah, or trust, which means that man has a trust to take care of the environment. And the fourth is Fitrah, or innate nature of things. The strict and unqualified monotheism in Islam without a doubt affirms the notion of God who is uniquely transcendent above all created things. Yet, contrary to the aforementioned theses, this hardly yields to the belief in man's right to exploit nature. The Quran itself thoroughly secularizes the world as a matrix of ayat or signs, i.e. things which point to beyond themselves. The spirit is neatly captured by a saying in Zen Buddhism to the effect that there is a finger pointing at the moon, but we only look at the finger and forget about the moon. As far back as the 10th century, consciousness about man's proneness to corruption was recognized in the philosophical literature. The Brotherhood of Mystic Philosophers, Ikhwan as-Safa, or Brethren of Purity, in its encyclopedic treatise Rasail Ikhwan as-Safa, narrates a fable about animals' lawsuit against human beings. Wearied by man's constant corruption and destruction of nature, the animals decided to bring a case against human beings and demanded, among others, that human beings are stripped of their title as God's representative on earth, seeing that animals are more worthy of the sacred trust endowed by the Creator. In the course of the trial, human beings adduced various arguments to point to their superiority over the animals, only to meet with more solid and powerful counter-arguments by the animals. What we affirm in our intellects, in our minds, we also practice in our daily lives and in our relationship with others, i.e., they form the ethical principles with which we lead our lives. To return to the Islamic tradition, the Sharia and the moral legal tradition derived from it is rich with themes exhorting the faithful towards the ethical treatment of the natural world. These include the abhorrence of waste, the kind treatment of living beings, including animals, not to transgress limits in nature, and the censure of excessive consumption. A legal treatise as far back as the 13th century by a renowned jurist, Abdus-Salam, even included what some commentators have described as an animal bill of rights. What we affirm intellectually and ethically, we also intensify in our spiritual lives. To speak of spirituality thus brings us back to a pivotal dimension of the environment, what has been identified as the fifth element of the physical cosmos in the ancient world, after fire, air, water, and earth, namely human beings. In this sense, spirituality is closely linked with ethics. While ethics prescribes the principles of right and wrong and guides to conduct and behavior, spirituality trains and disciplines the soul to be able to conform to those principles. Religious worship, liturgical and devotional practices and exercise, or what are sometimes called religious rites and rituals, thus partly contribute towards this end, for the external, seemingly only symbolic acts or gestures in reality conceal a wealth of inner dimensions. And it is in the knowledge and realization of these inner realities that our consciousness can be transformed for the better. We often speak of sustainable lifestyle and adopting an ethic of consumption towards securing a sustainable future, but without the inner motivation and conviction sustained and cultivated in our individual lives, then laws, policies, and other external measures will continue to fail to address the heart of the problem. In these initiatives, there is ample scope for interreligious approaches, for the crises that afflict humanity today affect us all. Muslims and Buddhists have a shared responsibility towards the environment. Instances of conflict, violence, antagonism stemming from misperceptions about one another can be minimized, if not altogether eliminated, if people of different faiths, come together to contribute towards the common good. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hazri. He has another engagement, so he has to leave now. So unfortunately, he can't be joining us in terms of discussion. Thank you very much, Mr. Hazri. Now, the next speaker is from Taiwan, Venerable Chao. She's also a patron of one of the patrons of INET. I would like to invite her to her speech. Thank you very much.
Good morning, respectable Ladakh and Venerable Lama brothers and sisters. Salamat Kati. Salamat.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. I will present this paper. It's Buddhist perspective on homosexual love. The same-sex wedding enhances sustainable relationship. And this is my presentation outline, including introduction, point of view, love relationship, point of view, marriage, and transit, love and desire, point of view, homosexual and heterosexual marriage, and conclusion. But here's this long paper, so I just introduce some introduction, then I will rely on my interpreter to translate for me. At noon on August 11th, 2012, for the first time ever in the history of Buddhism, a Buddhist same-sex wedding ceremony was held at Hong's Buddhist College of Taoyuan County of Taiwan. Two brides, Wang Meili and Liu Yaping, who have been in relationship for 7 years since 2005, were married with Buddhist rituals and blessings. Subsequently, international foreign news media widely broadcast this event. At the end of 2012, one photo of the event was selected as one of 100 2012 pictures of the new year in the New York Times. It was the only selected 2012 news in Taiwan. The other news about the Chinese-speaking communities is the Bo Xilai scandal in China. This is the 2012 pictures of the year in New York Times. This wedding ceremony was presided over by the author. Within 8 days, I received an email from Moon showing Ajahn Sula's support for the event. Thank you, respectable Ajahn Sula, for your very precious encouragement. And thank you very much to dear editor of Seeds of Peace. Right in the following month, you published this news report in volume 28 to give me a lot of support. This is the email from Ajahn Sulak, and this is Seed of Peace. This is the report. Due to my time limitation, please allow me to have my interpreter, Dr. Doris Chan, to do the following presentation on my behalf. You see, okay. 这就是朱慧珍，她是一个非常知名的女明星。她的女儿因为她是一个女儿是一个女同志，跳楼自杀。她在女儿自杀以后的10天，她开了一个记者会，摇着那个彩虹旗，就是象征了同志的彩虹旗，在拼命的摇旗，告诉大家，跟她女儿说，我帮你出柜了，妈妈帮你出柜了。
Okay, so in this photo you can see a very famous Taiwanese entertainer and performer. You can see in the lower bottom right corner, 10 days after her daughter, who is a lesbian, committed suicide, she just waved this flag that represented the homosexuals. That she said, I will just do this for you. I will just do this for you. So it is a very important cause and event that is related to the wedding that Venerable Chao Hwei presided over.
在婚姻的当天早上，他被2位女新人邀来，而且呢特别送了，他是藏传佛教信徒，送了两串的天珠，要送给这2位新人，而且请我为他们做一个祝福。
So in the other photo, you can see that on the very day of the wedding, she came to my college, bringing two. You can see in the picture, bringing two beads, right? You can see the wrist, and then she wanted me to bless for this couple.
在婚姻举行之前呢，先召开了一个记者会。我们可以看到2个新人，他们突破了所谓假象的一男一女，他们2个人都穿着婚纱，但是他们告诉我们说，因为这个买一送一比较便宜，所以他们干脆就2个人都穿同样的衣服。
So you can see here we have a couple, and then they have transcended over the outlook of the sexuality, and then they came to this wedding with resolution, and then just one of the footnote here, then both of them are wearing the gown because it's cheaper for them to just rent a gown for a pair. So that's why they're both wearing bride gowns.
Can you do anything?
那这个下面是朱慧珍抱着他们2个人，她非常的感动，也几乎是哽咽的说：“你们2个就是我可爱的女儿。”她从这场婚礼中得到了一种精神上的补偿。
So you can see in the other photo, Zhu Huizhen, the entertainer, actually was holding both of them in her arm, and then she said she was very touched. She said, "Both of you are my daughters. I want to support you." I can see how much gratification she got from joining this event.
在发言的那位新娘呢，她其实这次是高调的要举行这个婚礼，因为底下我们有看到那张照片，他们有一个致马英九总统书，希望马总统能够尽速让立法通过，也就是让同志能够有伴侣制度，先不要说婚姻哈，最起码有个伴侣制度来保障他们所有的一切，包括他们彼此的稳定的关系，包括他们的财产的继承，包括他们的病痛的照顾等等。
Okay, so in the picture you can see the one holding the microphone. She is the one that really wanted to make this event very, very big for very, very strategic and significant reason. Because in the other photo you can see this bride is holding a green, very large, enlarged envelope. And actually it is an envelope with a letter addressed to the President Ma Ying-jeou, because they hope that the homosexual marriage or the same-sex marriage can be legalized in Taiwan, so that they can really enjoy the constitutional rights for inheritance of properties and receive the due medical support when they're ill, so that they can be enjoying the family life like anybody else.
就在我们来马来西亚的这个时间之前，台湾还有这个议题吵得非常的凶，包括在立法院有许多的宗教团体站出来反对同志伴侣制度，有许多人站出来，有许多人站出来呢反对我们的伴侣制度，因为这个反对他们的所谓的伴侣制度，这些都是宗教人士、宗教团体，他们非常强烈的反对，而且他们邀了一个我的朋友，一个比丘叫做净耀法师，在记者会中大声的疾呼，绝对不可以让一男一女的婚姻变质。那当时净耀法师还说，这个一男一女是一阴一阳，这个才是宇宙天理之道，所以女同志呢是违反了天理之道。后来我在我的 FB 上就嘲笑我们的这个好朋友净耀法师说，这个佛陀什么时候说过阴一阳呢？这个你是不是什么时候变道士了？
Okay, let me see, I can try to do it. Actually, right after this event, before the wedding, actually, there have been very, very strong objections and protests from all over different communities. Among them will be the religious leaders. And then some of the organizations that strongly oppose this event and legalization of same-sex marriage invited one of my Buddhist friends, Venerable to say something in support of the opposition. And then Venerable Jin Yao said that, well, we could not really allow this kind of marriage to go on because it is more natural to have a male and a female, or yin and yang, in a marriage relationship rather than having same-sex marriage. And then I left a message on my Facebook saying that, oh, my dear friend Venerable Jin Yao, I don't think the Buddha has ever said anything related to yin and yang. When have you become a Taoist?
然后我们看到这个照片里面最旁边，我们看到这个照片里面最右边的那位呢是牧师，他是一位同志牧师。那他这次也是主动看到新闻以后跑来参加这个记者会。
So in this picture, you can see here, he actually is a Presbyterian priest. And he is also homosexual. So upon reading the news about this event, he voluntarily came to us and he wanted to join this event.
那大家可以看得到那天的记者涌来那么多，真是非常吓人。因为我根本没有想到他后来变成一个非常轰轰烈烈的国际新闻。那然后我们看到右上角这位呢是一位佛教学者，在台湾他是一个非常杰出的佛教学者。那么为什么他今天在这里出现呢？他也是一位同志，而他的伴侣呢，一个年轻的男孩子也是自杀身亡，他非常非常的悲痛。
Okay, so as you can see from the larger picture, you can see this event has been was actually very widely broadcasted and it attracted international media attention. So we didn't really expect such attention paid to this event. But I would like to refer you to the person in the small photo. He is Professor Yang Huinan from National Taiwan University. Why was he also there? Because he is also gay. And then actually, when he was young, his partner committed suicide because of the social pressure. So he wanted to come to talk.
这就是为什么我觉得同志的婚姻是必须的，因为我们发现到同志们其实是在这样的一个不友善的环境里面，他们的关系，也就是所谓的永续关系，其实并没有得到保障，因为爱情还是需要受到因缘生法，也是因缘生法，它必须受到家庭社会的祝福，因此两个人一路走来是非常辛苦，如果没有一点保障，经常都是悲剧收场。
So that explains the reason why I agreed to preside over for this wedding for them. Because without blessings of a family, without blessings of society, without the support of the society in general, it is very hard for the couple or for this relationship to go sustainably. So that is why I think we could not sit there without helping.
而且呢，既然是没有其他的支持的话，那么最后的一个最大的力量就是宗教。所以这两位新娘告诉我说，其实他们已经生活了7年，但是当他们婚礼结束以后，回去第2天早上醒来，他们忽然间发现到一切都不一样了，生活显得更加的美好而平安。
So actually, right after the day of the wedding, the couple told me that after this whole ceremony, so without family support, without social support, the only place they can turn to would be religious support. So that is why the very next day after the wedding, they felt that the whole life has become more wonderful because of this support and because of this support.
这场婚礼来了许多的人，其实很多都是他们新娘不认识，主动来到的。那么他们告诉我们，他一路从典礼的开始一直哭到结束。那么他们显然不但为新娘高兴，也为整个的同志奋斗史呢有一份很深的心情。
So as you can see from this very big crowd in the picture, actually many of them, most of them were not in any way related to the couple, but they told us later that they cry from the beginning, from the very second that the ceremony began, because they felt so touched, and also they felt that finally that there is some kind of support for all these homosexuals to really have some support and warmth from the society, so that they can go on for a more sustainable relationship.
大家可以看到，这是新娘们在结婚证书上压印，我也包括了，我也是盖了一个章，就在佛陀慈悲的见证之下。
So under the auspicious witness of the Lord Buddha in the previous photo. So you can see the couple actually put their seal on the wedding certificate, and I also put my seal on it, and all this is done under the auspicious blessing of the Buddha.
所以最后我以一个这个大合照，大家看到他们两个新娘还有全部人都笑得非常的灿烂。那很多人说这个同志是业障，我常常告诉大家，其实没有任何一个人没有业障，包括生成女的、生成矮的、生成黑的，或者是胳膊腿瘸了的，或者是智障的等等，每一个人都有多多少少的业障。如果要这样讲的话，是没完没了的。
Okay, so as you can see, this is a group photo we took after the wedding, and you can see everybody was laughing heartily because of the whole event. Actually, in Buddhism, sometimes we talk about the so-called karmic obstructions. And then actually there was, in her paper actually she mentioned, there was theories that all people become homosexual because of some karmic obstructions. But I disagree with that very strongly, because when we speak of karmic obstructions or obstacles, people with shortness, people coming with different kinds of deficiencies in their body, or people with different outlook, we all carry within us some kind of deficiency, or the so-called karmic deficiency. So if we start talking about this in the name of karmic deficiency, then that would be an endless discussion.
而且同志的痛苦经常不是来自于他们的业，而是来自于社会的歧视。因此，我认为社会大家的歧视才是一个最大的罪业。
So I also think that the lesbians or the homosexuals, the most pressure and problems do not come from the inherent or intrinsic hindrances within the homosexuals themselves. They come from the social pressure. And that is actually the most serious crime against humankind.
因此，我认为在佛陀的立场，在佛教的立场，我们应该要帮助所有的众生，让他们能够朝向更光明、更喜乐的人生方向，让他们能够发挥他们的社会、他们的生命潜力。那么，这样我们做佛弟子才是，包括做法师，才能够达到说是尽了这个遵守佛陀教言的责任。
So as Buddhists, it is my belief that it is our job to reach out the helping hands, to help people regarding regardless of their sexual inclination or any kind of inclination, to bring out the best within them and to really maximize their greatest potential, to bring better life for all the sentient beings. That is the spirit. That is the true Buddhist spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Venerable Chao. Very interesting. Never thought about sustainability in this respect. We can open up discussion for this day. Well, thank you very much. And the next speaker, I would like to invite Venerable.
Can't move, but you can change position.
Yes.
You can change where you sit.
Makes a great invitation. We are very proud to have you recently as our patron, the only lady patron of mine. Give a big hand. As engaged Buddhists, we want to go directly to the essential teaching of the Buddha.